Welcome back to the Real Mark Bagwell, a wrestling docuseries. I'm your host, as always, the chosen lawyer, and joining me is my co-pilot, cousin Jerry Hood. Cousin Jerry, welcome back.
It's good to be back. What's up? What's up?
What's up is I'm very, very excited in the world of wrestling because as we're taping this, we're only about a couple of days away from my favorite wrestling event of the year, the 2023 Royal Rumble.
Wow, man, that is going to be big. That's going to be huge.
So I looked through my shirt collection, right? Because I got an extensive wrestling t-shirt collection. Did not have a Royal Rumble shirt, but here's what I dug up for you.
Wow, that's got it all right there. Man, that is a classic, right? That is, yeah, those are hard to find, very hard to come by. That's got some age on it. That's got a couple of years on it right there.
That's pretty OG. So now in the current Royal Rumble, if they came to visit, we can get a couple of these guys, Shawn Michaels, right?
Sure.
Ric Flair could come by and say hello. They were at Raw's 30th anniversary this past Monday. Bret
Mm-hmm.
Hart, maybe not so much with him and WWE not having the best relationship.
Right.
Mr. Perfect, Ultimate Warrior, and the Macho Man.
Oh yeah.
We would need a seance to have them come by the Royal Rumble. But you got to think about it now, cousin Jerry. That SummerSlam, this kind of talent, we were so spoiled with the level of wrestling we had in that golden age.
Very spoiled, and it'll never be the same again, unfortunately. Summer missed a lot of good guys, a lot of new stuff, a lot of new talent. But it's just not everywhere I go. Somebody says something about the '90s and the new millennium, the beginning of the new millennium, and wrestling and what it was compared to what it is today. And it's just not. Uh, it's not the same. My agent and I had lunch together a couple of days ago, and talked about the same thing. And it's one of those things. It comes and goes, and it'll always be there, but it'll never be the same. And just I don't know. As a fan of all the fans out there, uh, just have to keep watching and hoping, and you never know. And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, we were talking a little bit off air, and you being based in Georgia and I'm based in Ontario, Canada. So I got a good news, bad news scenario with where I'm living right now. So I'll give you the bad news first. Open up my door, and it feels like snow's going to pile inside my front entrance. That's how much snow we're getting. I did not sign up to live in the Arctic, so this kind of sucks. It's I felt like winter's coming to an end, Jerry, and the snow just keeps piling on. So that kind of sucked. But with Royal Rumble coming on, I said to myself, I need a good subscription here in life. You know what? I need to watch even more wrestling. And I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And in Ontario, they got this channel called Sportsnet. And they have this app called Sportsnet Now. For 250 Canadian dollars, you get every single wrestling event, TV show from WWE. So you get basically WWE Network, plus you get the MLB channel, and you get every single baseball game played in the 2023 season. I'm like, wow, my productivity is about to lower significantly with this purchase.
Oh, wow! I wish we had something like that. We may have it. I don't watch a lot of TV, as you know, and I need to beef up a little more on wrestling for sure, so I can get caught back up. But us here at we're in Georgia right now. We've been over in Alabama for about a month, and this is late January now. We'll be there. We'll go back on this Friday, which should be the 27th, and we'll be over there till February the 10th. But we just don't watch a lot of TV. We've got every outdoor channel known to man. There's Pursuit, Sportsman Channel, the Outdoor Channel. We've got My Outdoor TV that we stream for the guests and everything that come in at the farm that are hunting, family and stuff. But we just don't watch a lot of TV unless when baseball season comes around, we get Bally Sports, which Bally is free with the sports package, I guess. The Braves are on there. We get that, but I cannot sit. It's hard for me to go to a movie even sit. We were talking about the movies the other day with one of my son's friends, and they were going to see Avatar, something about an Avatar, and it was 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, if I got to the movies at 8, I'd get popcorn with you, hot dogs, pizza, cokes. We'll do the whole milk duds and coke, whatever. But by 8:15, I'm asleep. I will sleep through the whole movie. I just can't do it. So TV not a big deal, but with the snow and I guess working from home and everything, that's going to be neat as far as those two deals for you. That'll be a big deal.
Well, when it comes to movies, Jerry Hood, I've told people, unless it has the word Creed or Fast Furious in the title, don't talk to me about movies. That's the only movies I want to watch in life is boxing and fast stunt car driving movies. That's where it's at. Now, I'm going to suspect, Jerry Hood, that you did not follow your homework from the last episode and did not watch WWE Raw this past Monday. Jerry Hood, you missed so much in this. This was one of the best Raws of the year. I got to tell you, with the 30th anniversary, started off with Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart came out to introduce, and that was awesome. Hulk looks like he's about 150 right now. He's a little weathered, but still going. But it was a little tough.
So I don't mean to interrupt. I think I did some homework. Did I see The Rock on there?
There was rumors of The Rock, but there was no Rock.
That must have been a rerun from like 1980 or something.
Yes.
Dang.
Yes. Right. Yeah, they were showing replays of the best of Rocks. It's 30 years of Raw.
Okay.
But, so before we get to the legend side of it, I'm going to update you on my favorite segment, which is the Bloodline. Sorry for spoilers for any of you that did not watch Raw 30, but you've had enough time to watch it. So here we go. So we know that we have the whole thing with the unified champion, Roman Reigns, the head of the Bloodline, the head of the table, right? So he's very unhappy with Sami Zayn right now. So they all came out. The Bloodline came out at the beginning. There was a table and chairs. And Paul Heyman presented to the court of the Bloodline, why they need to prosecute Sami Zayn, why he is a traitor to the Bloodline, never had good intentions for the family whatsoever. He's been a fraud from day one, and we need to boot him out. So he gave his evidence, and he had the video footage, obviously. So then it comes to Sami Zayn after Paul presents his case, and Sami says, I am so upset, and I'm so hurt right now that I got no defense. I can't even talk right now, so I'm just not going to say anything. And Roman Reigns gets so upset and says, you know, you care so little about this family that you can't even come and present and make an argument and work for this, then I have no choice. And he's about to find him guilty, where Jey Uso stops him right before. So we got the brothers, Jey and Jimmy. Jay's the one who was fighting with Sami the whole time. So you'd think he'd be the first one that would want to get this guy out of the Bloodline. And he says, no, he's really my brother. He's been good to us. I realize this now. And Jey, lo and behold, had his footage. He prepared the defense for Sami. So what luck? So we watched the footage of what Jey has to show. And he made a very good case of why Sami Zayn is very loyal to the Bloodline. I had almost tears in my eyes. I'm loving every second of this. This is one of the best segments I've ever seen, besides Dominic Mysterio and his after jail promo, which we'll talk about another time. So Jey presents his arguments, hugs him. Jimmy hugs Sami. So now you got Jimmy and Jey, the brothers, the cousins to Roman Reigns, and you got Roman and Solo and Paul Heyman. So you got 3 and 3 now. We got a split of the Bloodline. Roman says, you know what? You've bought enough time, Sami, until the Royal Rumble. After today, whatever you're doing at Raw, I want you to go home. You don't go to any house shows. You don't go anywhere. You're going to go straight home. I want to see you at the Royal Rumble, where I'm going to present you with your final test to really test if you're part of this Bloodline and if you're good or not. Get out of my sight. So in the meantime, we now have a tag team matchup where the Usos are facing off against Judgment Day. And one of the members, I think it was Jey, if I'm not mistaken, one of them gets injured. And oh no, in the middle of the match, a championship match, a guy's injured. And it looks like it's real. They did the X and everything, right? Adam Pearce comes out and says, Well, you can't get injured during a championship match. If you can't continue, then you have to forfeit the championships. I never heard this rule ever before. That's a load of baloney. Like, he could just stand outside, get counted out, get disqualified. He would keep his belt. But apparently, if he cannot continue, he's going to lose the belt. Unless Sami Zayn fills in for him and carries the team. So he's allowing another guy who's not actually a champion with the other member of the Usos, but he's going to fill in and they get to defend the tag team belts and the match continues. Otherwise, they have to forfeit the belts. So the match continued. The team won. Everybody's happy. Roman Reigns is in his private locker room watching this with disgust on his face. And he's saying, I'll see him at the Rumble. I'll see him at the Rumble. So this whole shtick is going fantastic. It's like the NWO all over again with having like a small membership group, very exclusive. Somebody wants to get in, somebody's going to get booted out. I'm so excited because I'm going to spoil this for you, Jerry Hood. What I think is going to happen, and I see the best logical, well, obviously The Rock coming would be amazing. So The Rock facing off against Roman Reigns, that's what everybody's hoping for. But The Rock is very busy, and The Rock is not even in good enough shape for wrestling. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I think Sami Zayn has to win the Royal Rumble and then face off against Roman Reigns in WrestleMania. There's your match. So that was the highlight of Raw 30 for me. Can you tell I'm excited?
Oh, you were definitely you're loving it. I mean, that is something else. I think basically, first and foremost, you got way too much time on your hands, and that's okay. Secondly, I think you're correct. I've been doing a little bit of homework and research, and I get bits and pieces. But like I say, the farm in Alabama, we've been down there, and it's been crazy. But that sounds. I talked to a couple people about it down there. We had some people stop in and were talking to us. We were out eating, and we got spotted. You know, of all places, we got spotted, and they talked to us a little bit, and it was neat and fun. But same, I had a couple other people have told me pretty much almost the same scenario as what you said. So we shall see.
I'm leading up with this to somewhere. There is a lead up. Trust me on this. Because remember on the previous episode, I told you about how the bloodline comes over in the beginning of every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and they take over the program. We're doing NWO again, folks. This is just NWO again, but it works. So let's go with it. That's fine. The way Roman's having the belt, it's the way Hollywood Hogan had the belt. All gravy. Now, if you have to really pay attention to 3 hours of the show, right? So if you went to walk the dog or went to take a leak, you might miss some segments. Our good friend Diamond Dallas Page, DDP, showed up to Raw 30. So we have these segments, and what I call them is the jobber poker matches. Okay. So you got these poker matches with all the jobber like wrestlers. So these guys, they come and they generally lose to other talent and they make the other talent look good. They're there, and very often they'll bring in a legend or two. Because it was Raw 30, they brought in a few legends, Jerry Hood. So we had Diamond Dallas Page. We had the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. We had IRS, Erwin R. Shyster, Mike Rotunda. And we had Alundra Blaze, Medusa. So we had these legends in with the jobbers. It was fantastic. But DDP was there. And leading up to the Rumble, I see DDP there. And I'm thinking these are very good things. So first of all, because he's considered a legend, he does make his appearances. This is very, very good for DDP, for the fans who love to see DDP, and for anybody attached to DDP, including his good friend, Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's big.
The reason I say that, Jerry Hood, is because sneaking a peek at Mark's social media, Mark, this is the episode today. I've had a long-winded story to get to the point of today, but that's how stories go. Is Mark tweeted hashtag Royal Rumble 2024. The same doctor that worked on his neck after the accident that he had many years ago, has gone back to the same doctor to look after his knee. Mark's going to get his leg looked after once and for all, and he feels he's going to be healthy enough to make it as an entrant into the Royal Rumble 2024. How awesome would that be to have the Buffster back in the next Rumble?
if they can get that leg taken care of, and the doctor's a great doctor, and I forget his name right now, but
Dr. Pandya,
yeah,
Pandya, Dr. Pandya.
yep, he did a great job on the neck and fusing everything back together. Which they said, he'd never wrestle again. And the doctor said, well, wait a minute, we can do this, we do that, steel plates, the screws and everything go in. And of course, they say, wait a minute, you're going to be 90%, you're going to be 95. Well, Mark has to keep pushing and pushing. He's going to get there. And once he finishes the healing process, he goes back to the doctor. The doctor says, if the same injury happened again with Steiner or whoever, it wouldn't happen because the neck is stronger now with those plates in it versus the bones and the C1, the C2 and 3 being crushed and everything. Everything's back stronger than it was before. So that's good. I hope everything can, I know as far as it being in shape and everything, cardio and diet. I saw him. I'm probably not supposed to talk a lot about it right now, but that's coming up in a segment. But I saw him a couple weeks ago, and actually 2 weeks yesterday, and we came back in town. We flew in for a short flight with one of the other guys' agents, and a little Learjet landed over at Peachtree DeKalb Airport, and came in for about 3 hours, and we were right back out. It was fun, but we'll get into that. But
that is next week's show, so you'll have to hold off on
yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure.
You already know where we go with things, Jerry Hood. I never run the itinerary with you. I always surprise you with the topics. You already knew that was next week's.
I can't see it because my agent said, and the editors of the show, and you always know when I see everything on email, I jump the gun, and I can't help that. I get that from Mark. So, but
And
yeah, as far as 2024,
and your natural reaction is always the most fun to watch, Jerry Hood.
Yeah, yeah, it's better like that. I'm a little bit more surprised, so that's fine. I don't need to see the segments. It's good.
So Mark was messaging the fans, letting them know the plan is full mobility, being able to return to the ring. It's fantastic. Oh, by the way, The Undertaker was there also at Raw 30 and
Correct.
wasn't wrestling, but made the appearance. And watching Mark, and now he's appearing on indie wrestling and doing segments with DDP there, you can see it. You can see him coming out as a legend. Time to get him into the Hall of Fame. Acknowledge how much this man has persevered, how he's made it through in the world. He is professional wrestling. And watching him in Royal Rumble 2024, I would be bawling my eyes out. It'd be the greatest thing ever. I'd be so happy for him and for everything he's done. And I certainly hope for WWE's sake that they're watching this and it's ready to bring him back into the family.
Oh, no doubt. I know that we as a family would be ecstatic, super thrilled as you would. Dallas for sure, and amongst everything else, all the friends of the family and everything it'd be a big deal. I mean, it'd really be huge for us. I'll be right there with him once he was reading the speech. I'll be right there. I'm going, and man, I can't wait. Really excited about it. So
I'm going to tell you right now, Marcus Alexander Bagwell is elected to the Wrestling Hall of Fame. I will be there in the audience. I will get a tuxedo made, and the sequence will be the shirt behind me. You see, you got him flexing in the back.
sure,
It's gonna be all him all over my tux. I'm gonna make a buff tux.
We got to get you down there with us on the floor up in the front, so we can make that happen. So no big deal. That'll happen.
It's gonna be freaking tastic. Now I gotta ask you. We mentioned a few legends there. Now Undertaker, I know he was in WCW. I think long before Mark, and when Mark came, he was already the Undertaker, if I'm not mistaken. You never crossed paths with him back in the day. Mean Mark Callis.
No, I did not. Yeah, I did not.
I didn't think so. I at the times did not work as far as I knew. Now we did have Ted DiBiase, who did come in, and he was the secret money benefactor of the NWO, as far as I recall. That was the gimmick, and he came over from WWE. Any bumping into Ted DiBiase during your time there?
One time, it was in Atlanta, early '90s. Same night, really, when everything happened and transpired between Hulk and Randy Savage. There was everything was there. The three of us, they were all like back to back to back, and we talked a little bit. What a great guy he is, and he and Marcus always had a good relationship, got along really well. And Ted DiBiase, he was definitely a great guy. I
He's
enjoyed
a
meeting him.
he's a guy that my impression is because WWE got him so much. They didn't sponsor us, so we don't have to promote Coke, by the way. But you can. Like
Yeah.
I drink from Vega, but they don't sponsor either, so they're just getting free
Well,
advertising.
my agent said that the fans write in sometimes and want to know if I'm drinking beer.
No, no, no,
And of
not Jerry
course,
Hood. Not on
50.
the air.
Well, let's see. I'll be 49 this year, and I've never taken a drink, ever drank, ever drank, smoked, or anything. So it's always Diet Coke. Sometimes I'll do the little squirter Kool Aid thing, depending on how Mark's got me going for the diet that week, depending on what we're doing, where we got to go, where we got to be. But most of the time, it's Diet Coke, man.
Jerry Hood is true to health. I love it. That's one of the reasons why we bond so much because I also follow the same kind of plan that you do. Now, $1 Million Man, when he got that gimmick, WWE handed him limos. He had to fly on jets. He was handing out money at bars. They kept him so authentic to the character. He had to stay in character the whole time. Even Undertaker, apparently, like even when he's off camera, always stayed as the Undertaker. So when you met Ted DiBiase and you see the guy you see on TV where he has the tux and the dollar signs and a ha 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 ha, is he like that in real life? What was your experience that way with him?
No, he was more down to earth. Everybody being backstage and getting ready for the matches. It was more Mark and I more or less were hanging together. And so when he introduced me, of course, he was laid back and didn't have to put on the face or the show or the hat for the $1 Million Man. So just like everyday talking, not a big deal. So it was cool. It was a
It's
good
just a
deal.
regular Joe.
Just a regular guy every
I,
day.
IRS Mike Rotunda. Ever bump into him?
I have not.
He's also, by the way, they didn't allude to it, but he is Bray Wyatt's father in real life. So we got all these second, third generation wrestlers. Bray Wyatt is a third generation wrestler. Mike Rotunda's dad being Black Jack Mulligan.
Oh yeah.
And Bray Wyatt has a brother by the name of Bo Dallas, who's been out of wrestling for some time. But there's this mystery character called Uncle Howdy, and Uncle Howdy appears with his top hat and the scary music. And the rumors on the internet are that Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy, and they're going to create what's called the Wyatt Six. And that's going to be a new faction because one thing wrestling needs is more factions. Now, the other legend that was there that stuck out to me, Alundra Blaze. Now, we all knew her as Medusa. She was in wrestling forever and ever and ever. She was best known with Kurt Hennig. So they were the champions in the AWA. Back in the day, it was no WCW, really. It was the big ones were WWF, NWA, and AWA. And they were the AWA champions. That's also where Hulk Hogan came from. That's where Bobby the Brain Heenan came from, Gorilla Monsoon. A lot of the big time 80s wrestlers that WWF exploded with all came from the AWA. So that's how far back Medusa goes. She's a wrestling legend. She's like the top woman wrestler, I think, of all time. I don't think she gets enough credit for that. Ever bump into Medusa backstage in the WCW days?
I have not. She was there. We went to a big deal. I think it was at the Georgia Dome, and I got snowed in somewhere out west and didn't make it. My flight didn't make it, but I had that on my list and wanted to, and we did not make it in. And then blah blah blah. The whole story there goes. But I wish I could have made it.
I always wanted to meet her. Do you know what she did after wrestling?
No.
She became a monster truck driver. Medusa was driving monster truck. She is a badass lady. Yes.
that's a big deal. Those we accidentally somebody gave my agent some tickets to one of those that was in Atlanta, and I took my daughter, and we took a couple of her friends' kids or something. Holy mackerel, what a night! But
It's the
there, that's a
best.
big deal. We got to go out there, and they took us down in or whatever. Knew it was a Buff Bagwell deal. We went in and met a lot of them and saw the trucks and everything. Climbed up, and it's there's a lot to that. I thought it was just get on, drive, and go, and that's a big deal. Yeah, for bravo to her, Medusa, man.
Shocker that the people that like wrestling also like monster trucks. Go figure. So, as we're wrapping up today's episode, Jerry Hood, today's chapter, I have the idea of how we're going to present this 2024 Rumble. It just hit me. Like ideas come. You always inspire me to think of the ideas. So, DX was there. DX always comes out in the anniversary shows, right? So, you
Mm-hmm.
got Shawn Michaels, you got Triple H, you got the Road Dogg, you got X Pac, but you can't have Billy Gunn because he's in AEW. So they can't make the crossover because they're rivals. But Kurt
Right.
Angle showed up, and I won't even get bore you with that story because it was kind of lame. But the DX reunion. So what you do is you have the Raw before Royal Rumble 2024. You have a proper NWO reunion, right? So you bring back Hollywood Hogan, right?
Yeah.
Bring back Kevin. Can't bring back Scott, unfortunately. Bring back Scott Steiner, bring back Teddy DiBiase, and bring back Mark Bagwell, Buff Bagwell. So we do a real NWO reunion now, the real core, and
Sure.
that's going to lead up into the Rumble. And Buff will come out at the Rumble. Everybody's going to be so excited to see him. And he's like, haha, I'm actually wrestling this thing. And he runs down the ramp and goes in there. That's going to be your ticket. NWO reunion, Buff Bagwell. Let's make this happen.
That's huge. You need to get your agent to get in touch with the writers of the show for WWE and let you get in there with Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff, and you guys, come together and man, you got it going on. So who knows? We're hoping for something like that. That's how they're going to have to present it. I mean, if you do it the right way. And Mark, I told you once upon a time was big on putting that together as far as hey, the finishes and here's what we do. You run in, you hit me here. His ideas were second to none. Vince knew it, Eric knew it, and man, who
Well,
knows? Who knows what they're going to do? We'll see.
to those Saudi princes that are watching this right now and are planning their big billions dollar takeover at WWE one day, they'll probably be the new owners. That's the hot rumor that WWE will be sold to the Saudis. So, Saudis, you can give us a shout here at the Real Mark Bagwell, and we're happy to bring you some writing ideas and some glory of how to really do this thing. So, Jerry Hood, cousin Jerry Hood, always a pleasure. And next week, we'll be back and we're gonna have some exciting stories about your trip over to hang out with Buff Bagwell, Mark Bagwell. See you.
Cool.
We'll see you next week, Jerry Hood.
Peace out.